And welcome back, everyone, to the 20th episode of the Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm alongside my co host, Vince. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone. And we will have an episode coming out on Christmas and one on New Year's, so look out for those two. But today, we are also going to have the Christmas special coming out. So we're going to have two clips over on Instagram previewing a very special NFL game and a very special NBA game going on today. So without further ado, let's hop right into the NFL and we have a couple notable games of the week going on this week. First of all, we have the Cowboys versus the Dolphins. This is a prime matchup, two teams that are looking to go deep. Cowboys kind of choke a lot. Dolphins have looked pretty good this year. So this is definitely going to be a tight game. Two very, very strong teams. Vince, you're a Dolphins fan, but what do you think here?
Look, I believe in this Dolphins team, and I know there's a lot of haters, but I think that this Dolphins team can do whatever they put their mindset to, whatever they want to achieve. I know they can. And listen, I know we've lost every team we played that is above 500, but that's just because those were away games. Those were away games, all right? I don't care about the Chiefs game that it was at a neutral site. I don't care. It's still an away game in my opinion. So look, if this Dolphins team can get on point, pay attention, listen to Mike McDaniels, we should be good. But look, the Cowboys defense is good, and our offensive lineman, we lost an offensive lineman against in the Titans game. Connor Williams, great center, but that's just one loss. And look, I also know that Tyreek Hill is supposedly still day to day with his injury that he suffered against the Titans. But look, I still believe in this Dolphins team, and I know for the record, I know that some people say that oh, Tua's nothing without Tyreek. I don't care if they played the Jets last week. Look what he did with Waddle. That was something that we don't usually see that. The connection between those two, the chemistry, the connection, it's great between those two players, and I know that they have a special mind. Like together, they bond, and I think that those two guys can lead us to victory if Tyreek Hill doesn't end up playing. But yeah, I just think it really just depends on whether or not the Dolphins offense will be able to play.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's going to be a matter of getting past the Cowboys defense because they are really the heavy hitters of this Cowboys
Especially
team.
against a weak offensive line like we do.
Yeah.
They're not really good. And we lost Connor Williams, which was arguably our best center that we've had in a lot of years. So just losing a guy like that is pretty sentimental.
No, I definitely agree. But if you're thinking about like Dak Prescott in the offense for the Cowboys here, if
But
the Dolphins
I don't think that's a problem for our defense
no,
though.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm saying
exactly. Like look,
if the
we have
Dolphins
Vic
can
Fangio.
figure out the
Like
offense, then it's fine.
oh, for sure. And that's what I mean. Like the offense, I think, is the main priority. Because again, what if we don't have Tyreek Hill? And look, even as a Dolphins fan, I truly don't know if we can win without him. And I know we beat the Jets, but that's the Jets.
Mhm.
That's the Jets with a really shaky team in general. So that's why I think we won. But
Mhm.
anything can happen. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
Cowboys, and they've beaten good teams this year. They've beaten the Eagles, which we didn't beat, which is obviously a huge win for them.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about just like if you're looking at the Cowboys defense, you're seeing they've scored a ridiculous amount of pick sixes. So you're seeing all these high scoring games going on. It's a lot of it is thanks to the Cowboys defense. So you're looking at a Cowboys offense who is very, very good, not as good as the Dolphins offense, I don't think, because you have, I mean, Dak Prescott, he's a pretty good quarterback. He's been better this year than the past. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's been good. You have Pollard, who's also been good. But then you're looking at Tua with hopefully Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. Like they should be the better offense. So it's going to be a matter of getting past the Cowboys defense, which is going to be tough to do
But
because they definitely
especially because
have the
they have
best
the best
defense in the league.
defensive line. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they have the best defensive line in the league. When we take a look at, again, I think they do have the best defensive line, but their secondary is not as strong as what we expected in the beginning.
Well,
Trevon
you
Diggs
have
went down with an
Bland, who has the
injury.
most pick sixes in the league
I
and a
and listen, I
20%
get
record.
that, and I get that, and I get that. But look, I just don't think you can compare cornerbacks like that to our cornerbacks I mean, we have I would say the best cornerback, maybe if not, currently, if not all time, Jalen Ramsey, who is
Yeah.
amazing as for the record, and Xavier Howard, who is just immune to playing in great games. And I know he's had a lot of injuries over the course of his career, especially as he's getting older the last couple of years. But look, if we have our defense set together, and I think obviously the Cowboys' offense is good, but if we can get our defense aligned good and our offense somewhat healthy, I don't even think it's a no brainer for win for us.
Yeah, no. I agree. And it's just gonna be they have to figure a lot of things out in this game. They only face each other every 4 years or something like that. And it's like you said, their main problem is gonna be their offensive line, which we see with a lot of teams that haven't really built that up over the years. And Cowboys, like you said, their D line is ridiculously good. Micah Parsons is going to be trying to get at Tua every play, so it's going to be there's going to be a lot of things that could potentially go wrong for both these teams in this game, but I think it might potentially be tough for some Dolphins fans to watch their offensive line struggle in this game against a very, very strong Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
So the second big game of this Christmas weekend, Ravens versus 49ers. This is a huge game and is one of our Christmas special games, so go check out the full clip there, but we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about it here. It's the 8 o'clock game. These are the two best teams in all of football right now, both at 11-3. So good. 49ers, best defense in the league. Ravens, they have Lamar Jackson. They have OBJ, Zay Flowers. They have all these guys. The 49ers, you have CMC, Debo Samuel, all Brandon Ayuk, all these guys on offense. This is a battle of the Titans. This is going to be a crazy game, and potentially this is going to be your Super Bowl this year. So, Vince, what do you think about this game? And then there's something else we want to touch on kind of
Yeah,
about the Super
look,
Bowl next.
this game is definitely going to go down to the wire. I don't think it's going to be an easy blowout for either one of these teams. And I think the main reason is because not only is it the offense, and I know that both of these quarterbacks are MVP front runners right now, but it also has to be the defense. I mean, we take a look at both of these teams' defenses. They're good. They're strong. They have good depth between both these defenses, and I know that you know both these teams are the best in their respective in the conferences. But I just think that the Ravens can pull up an upset, and I know that they're the same record, obviously. But the 49ers are known as a better team. But I know, and I have trust and faith that this Ravens team can win. I hope they don't win, even though I'm wearing a shirt of them right now. But if they do end up losing, then the Dolphins win, then we're good to go for the playoffs. But look, I just think it really has to. It comes down to, can the Ravens have good offense, and can the 49ers stop that good offense?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And this is just something that, like I said, it's the battle of the Titans. These two teams are here for a reason and they're in this position for a reason. And if you're looking at like playoff implications, who gets the buys or whatever from this game, um, it's not like a huge thing to look at. It will be interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the Ravens lose this and the Dolphins win, they will be tied, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely are some implications that like could affect playoffs or whatever, or buys or
I mean,
something.
look. Well, this is the thing. Like, if the Ravens do end up winning, right? Or I mean, no, sorry. If they end up losing and the Dolphins end up winning, it would really come down to both of these teams playing against each other, which they would do. I think next week in Week 17, if I'm correct.
I think so. Yeah, because that's
Yeah,
usually
if
when
they,
the
if they if
divisions
they
play
play each,
against each
which
other.
is going to be a great game. Don't get me wrong, but look, I think it would be a great historic game. Not just, and I don't think it's just for the season in general. I think it's for both these franchises because it's really just it comes down to these teams when it comes to the first seed. Which, if you would have told someone that in the beginning of the season, I don't think they would have
Yeah.
believed you.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. But something that we want to talk about kind of for fun is the NFL Super Bowl logo conspiracy. So, if you don't know what this is, there is a Super Bowl logo each year that comes out. So, this year they have the logo out. But something that people have noticed in the last couple of years is that the colors in the Super Bowl logo have been the two main colors of the team that played in it. So, last year, the Super Bowl logo was red and green, and that happened to be the Chiefs and the Eagles, and it happened the year before and the year before that, and now this year the Super Bowl logo is purple and red, which could be the Ravens and the 49ers. The Ravens are basically the only team in the league that uses purple as like their main color. And the 49ers, there's a lot of red teams, but they are the best team in the NFC right now. So if this happens, I think that there's definitely going to be even more people like pointing fingers and saying like, why is this happening? Because there is a real chance that history could repeat itself and the NFL logo conspiracy comes true again. So, Vince, what do you think about this? Do you
I
think
mean,
it's a
and we
real
have a
thing?
look. I think it is kind of real, and we take a look at what and it comes down like the script writers that just say it's real. Look, the Ravens have purple. Purple's in the logo. The 49ers have red. It's in the logo. It just has to be perfect aligned. It's perfectly aligned for this exact time. And I think because both of these teams have the two best records in their respective conference, it's not only is it giving hints of, oh, it's happening, it's giving hints of these teams might be the best, by the end of the season, by the end of the
Yeah,
regular season, these teams will be the best. So say they both are the number one seeds, obviously people are going to start thinking that this NFL Super Bowl logo conspiracy is real because who else is in the purple? The Vikings suck. I'm sorry if anyone's a Vikings fan. The Vikings suck. And the 49ers are the best red team beside the Chiefs. And the Chiefs,
yeah,
I don't even want to talk about them. I know we didn't like talk, we're not going to talk about this, but they cut Kadarius Toney. That's how bad they are. Come on, man. It's just yeah. So I do think it's real, and I think it can possibly happen, but watch out for the Dolphins, baby.
yeah. And the other logo that this happened with was the Bengals and the Rams, where there's orange and yellow in the logo. So this is something that has happened twice now, and if it happens a third time, I think that there's going to be some people maybe wanting to investigate what's going on there. But that's going to do for the NFL this week. So we are going to move on to the NCAA and college football, where the bowl season has really kicked off. And just real quick, this isn't nearly like the biggest bowl game or biggest bowl news of the week, but Syracuse had to play their tight end to play quarterback after getting absolutely destroyed by USF in the Boca Raton Bowl. And it's funny because people are saying they were playing a quarterback that had his like number in like the 80s or whatever, and usually quarterbacks have lower numbers, so it's kind of weird to see a guy with the number 87 or whatever out there throwing the
Yeah.
ball. So that was just kind of something fun. Not great for Syracuse there, but just want to touch on that. One of the big bowl games today was the Birmingham Bowl, which was Troy versus Duke, and it ended 17-10 in favor of Duke. So Duke has had an up and down year. They were highly ranked at one point, lost the game against Notre Dame, kind of fell from there. And I really had a lot of faith in them this season. I think that this has really helped grow their football program and kind of get a little more going on for them
And
other
look,
than the
listen,
basketball.
they went out and they got one of the best respected coaches in the college football world. Manny Diaz, who used to be the head coach for the University of Miami and was the assistant coach for or one of the coordinators for Penn State. So he knows what to do. I mean, he's one of the best defensive minds in college football without a doubt. Like, look, I personally don't like him at all, just because he ruined the University of Miami as a whole. So I'm happy that we got Cristobal. Besides the point. Look, I think that Duke is really trying to change his football program around. They don't want to be known as a basketball school for the record. They want to be known as a football and a basketball squad. They want to be known as one of the best colleges
Yeah,
to have both
powerhouse.
sports. Yeah, powerhouse school, and we could say that for many schools like Alabama. You know, well, SEC in general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Any SEC school. Just think about it like that. Just
yeah.
take a look at it like that. So yeah, I just think that it comes down to, does this Duke team want to pursue football and not just basketball?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And you're also looking at their rivals, UNC. They've been growing out their football program. They have a top quarterback that is, I think he said he was going to the draft this year already, Drake May. And they've been, yeah, both these schools have been good. And it's cool to see these historically big basketball school is doing well in football, but good for Duke. And I really like seeing them play a bowl game this year. So the Armed Forces Bowl was also today, which featured JMU versus Armed Force or Air Force, and Air Force upsets JMU 31-21 after a lot of dispute earlier this year about JMU getting a bowl game. So this was huge to see that Air Force, who was undefeated at one point, and everyone's like going crazy about they weren't ranked for a second there and they were undefeated, and then there was all this stuff. And but they got worse over the course of the season, but they ended up beating JMU, who ended 11-1 after losing the day of College Game Day when they finally went and visited there. So it definitely poses the question, was JMU legit at all this season, or did they just play teams that probably should have lost a game to anyone? And same for Air Force. Should Air Force have kind of deserved more over the course of the season?
Look, I just want to touch on JMU really quick. I mean, and we take a look at the week that they, game they did end up going to James Madison University, and it was against Appalachian State. And I think that loss, the hype that built around that week, especially that was the main week that we did discuss. Not only did we discuss, the whole nation discussed whether or not they deserve the bowl game. And look, I gave my emotions. I said, whether or not they deserved it. And I said they did. I really did. And I thought they would be one of the best teams, right now in college football. But man, what a disappointment. What a disappointment at the end of the season, just losing these last couple of games, which was really just, they were fluke games. They weren't that hard to win. But yeah, it really just comes down to pressure. And I think that the pressure that was given onto JMU's part was tremendously bad. I mean, and if you take a look at what, when game day came, that was the most people ever attended at a game day. Ever at JMU, James Madison University. Hear that? I'm making that clear because
I mean, to be fair,
insane.
game day never comes north of like Kentucky or whatever. But
well, look, but look, I really just think it's the pressure, and I think that's the main reason why this team did so bad at the end of the season. And again, not only did they say they wanted a bowl game, I'll tell you this right now. I know for 100% they all said, "Oh, we're gonna win the bowl game. We're gonna win a bowl game." Look what happened. Look what happened, and it's because of the pressure.
And I'm still not. I still think that they deserved it in the long run. If you're looking at
what for sure. Season. I mean, they had a great start and almost end to the season, but man, it's just.
But you're right. They overhyped themselves.
They overhyped themselves, and
everyone else overhyped them.
They let it get to them. They let it get to their heads, and they didn't keep the mindset going forward. And I truly believe, and I really do believe this. If the hype didn't get to them as much as it did, which was outrageous, it was outrageous hype, we could be seeing a whole different story right here. We could see undefeated JMU beating Air Force, or maybe they would have even made, a great bowl game. They could have been in Liberty's position against Oregon, which maybe they would have not won, but still, it's a hell of a bowl game to make. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree, and I think just good for both these teams. Air Force deserved to be in a bowl like this, and I think that they really should have been able to end their season better after seeing them go. Were they 8-0 or was it only 7-0 at one point? But they were doing really well. Yeah. So that's the Armed Forces Bowl this year. FSU, who has had a roller coaster of the last month now, which you're pretty happy about, but. FSU has requested to leave the ACC, but if they were to leave, they would have to pay a reported $572 million leaving fee to leave the ACC.
The ACC.
And this is funny because the ACC is FSU used to be Clemson.
University. Yeah, University of Miami.
And I guess Louisville now, apparently.
Yeah, I guess you could say, those four or five
FSU has to be bringing in at least 20% of their revenue because they are the best football team in the ACC. So I don't know how justified $572 million is
There's means to and
because
it means to the ACC. And what I think is that what if, like, for example, Alabama wanted to leave the SEC, for example, which is never gonna
how
happen.
much are they?
That would be over $1 billion.
Oh, it would have to be.
Double the
It
money
would
that
have to
FSU
be.
is getting asked for. Because, and look, I really just want to make myself clear on this statement. FSU, you're crybabies. I mean, you're just whining and whining. Oh, we don't want to play Orange Bowl. We don't want to play Orange Bowl. Look, you either take it or leave it. You want to compete or you don't want to compete. That's how college football works sometimes. It's that you're not always going to get what you want. And if you really want to, have a team and you still want to, leave a mark, you know, somewhere in a bowl game, go out and try your best. I know that you had a frustrating end to the season, but still go and try your best because anything is possible. Yeah, what if you do end up beating Georgia, which you're not? But it could happen. You never know. But yeah, again, really foolish acts by FSU, crying, saying, "Oh, I want to leave. I want to leave." Horrible, horrible,
Where
horrible.
are I mean, I if I had guessed the SEC would welcome them with open arms if
Well,
they wanted
that's
to
the
join,
only
but
problem. I don't know. And do I think FSU is going to be able to pay the $572 million? No, I don't. I don't think
well, yeah, they
they
first of all they
I
can't
don't.
pay that,
Not
but
only, do I think they have as much money as they're getting asked for. I don't think they're willing to do it because,
but
you know, what
yeah,
conference is really going to take them at this point? The Pac-12? Like, come on.
well, it would have to, if I'm FSU, the only person I would go to is the SEC.
The
They're
SEC, but that's
and
that.
because
But the reason is
The Big Ten
now
isn't taking
look.
them, and they're the only
I know, but look,
better
what I think
conference.
is that FSU, they wouldn't get into any. Now, let's say they do pay the $572 million, they wouldn't get into a new conference for probably the
20
next 3 to 2 years.
2028 probably.
Yeah, maybe like next 3 to 6, 5 years, like around there. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
Again,
it's
foolish acts.
it's and FSU is a good team, don't get me wrong, but if they were to move to the SEC, how much more money are they making jumping up they're still a Power 5 school, but they're jumping up maybe one conference tier. How much more money
And
are they
and
making?
and
What are
who
they
knows?
how much are they
Look,
going to
who
make from
knows
the
how hard that's
SEC
gonna
tag?
be?
Yeah.
Look, who knows how hard that's going to be? You went undefeated in the ACC. How are you
That's
going to be
not
able to
yeah.
sustain the SEC? You're going to be looking like the Gators every year.
And
Let's
that's
be
one
honest.
of the
That's the real truth. That's the real truth. And I hope every Florida State fan is listening right now, whom it may concern. We play in the hardest division in football, conference in football. You play in, I would say, one of the worst Power 5 conferences
well, besides the
in the
Iowa
nation.
and Big Ten, but
Look, and they get a free entrance to the Big Ten championship every year. But still, look, listen, FSU, you really got to get your stuff together because it's really not gonna work if you're gonna keep whining and crying over just really stupid stuff.
yeah, I definitely agree. But something that we just randomly touched on that I want to talk about real quick is the Big Ten. They are they need some conference realignment as soon as they accept these new, and I think they are as soon as they accept these new schools, because the Big Ten West is terrible. We just said that it's Iowa is the only good school,
Yeah, I mean,
and
yeah.
we're calling them a good school. It's Iowa. They're not good. They have the Big Ten West. It's getting better. There's been a lot of big commits, but it's pretty bad. And I think the Big Ten and these other conferences need to fix their alignment. Like Florida getting stuck with a terrible schedule next year because of the SEC throwing whatever they want at them.
God.
And
Don't
I
even
think
don't even remind me. Just don't remind me at this point.
the
Let's
NC
just move on.
yeah.
Let's just move on from this topic.
That,
I
but just
can't.
real quick,
I'm
the
still
NCAA
frustrated.
needs
I'm still
yeah,
frustrated.
the NCAA needs to find a way to make conferences just better. They don't really have much control over what the SEC does, but it's got to be better. So, moving on, signing day is here for future collegiate athletes, and notable signings include Jeremiah Smith going to OSU, and he is a wide receiver. Dylan Raiola has committed to Nebraska, which
Oof.
that's something. Um, and DJ Lagway has committed to Florida and will be their quarterback in how many seasons? Will he be starting next year or?
Well, listen, we'll touch on that in a second. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. And Jordan Seaton has committed to Colorado to be an offensive lineman. It's nice to see Colorado getting someone.
Someone. And listen,
Someone.
he is the number one offensive lineman in the nation right now, which I think is a huge move for Deion Sanders and this team. God knows what they can do with such an important player in Jordan Seaton, and I really think that he can help a very frustrating offensive line that dealt with a lot of injuries and not such a great. They didn't, the line did not have such a great year last year, and I think they can definitely help Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders' Heisman campaign next year.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So just something.
Yeah, I just want
Yeah,
to touch on, I want to touch on the rest of these guys real quick.
yeah,
So
yeah.
DJ Logway from Florida, man, I am so hyped. He is, I would say the second best quarterback in this class. Dylan Raiola is obviously number one. He is amazing, amazing, amazing. But look, I know that the Florida is giving another chance to Graham Mertz. He said he wanted to come back and win for the Florida team, which God knows how many wins we're getting next season. God knows what we can do next season with such a hard schedule. I don't know
Ooh.
if he was being sarcastic when he said, I want to go win, but look, anything is possible. It's college football, baby. So we're just going to have to
You
wait and see
you
what
know
really is going to happen.
if you look on the bright side for Florida season next year, if they win 2 games against any two of those teams, then they're going to be a top 10 team. So congratulations, you
Yeah.
beat you beat you beat two of those teams in your
Oh,
stupidly awful schedule. Then
schedule, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, than usual. Yeah, so, yeah, no, I really think that he can be the savior. I mean, we've had a lot of change in quarterbacks ever since Tebow and Urban Meyer left. We haven't really found our
Oh
guy. I
boy,
mean, yeah,
Tebow.
I guess. Listen, I guess you could say Kyle Trask was the main guy around in Gainesville, but listen, that was COVID year. We really didn't. I mean, he was a Heisman candidate. He was like ranked number third for the Heisman voting, but we don't have the same type of athleticism of a quarterback as what we did Tim Tebow and Kyle Trask. DJ
Tim
Logway,
Tebow.
I think DJ Logway can be a guy like that. I think he can be a future Heisman candidate because not only is he one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, he's the best quarterback in Texas. And Texas is known for their football.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we know that Texas
You
loves their
you have
football.
you have like the twenty
You know,
thousand seat high
look,
school stadium.
in Texas, it's barbecue, the Cowboys, and football. That's all they care about. Yeah, look, they love their football, and I think that getting one of the best quarterback commits to come to our school is just great, and it's going to build the momentum for this team. And trust me, watch out for the Gators, baby.
Okay.
Oh, we'll see, we'll see. All right, yeah. So Dylan Raiola, Nebraska's future quarterback,
Nebraska.
man.
That's really weird to say that they
Look,
are
and
getting a
he
top.
was going to go to Ohio State, which, man, you got to feel bad for Ohio State. They lost Kyle McCord to Syracuse, which I got wrong in last week's episode. Sorry for everyone that did think my predictions were going to be right. Yeah, no, Dylan Raiola is going to be a special quarterback for Nebraska. But, God knows what Matt Rule will be cooking up next season. I think that, Dylan Raiola, as one of the first 5-star commits to ever commit to Nebraska since 2009, 2008, around then, it's
So
great for this.
stupid.
Look, it's great for the school, but I think they can definitely do something with, such a good quarterback. And Jeremiah Smith, the receiver, man, he is the best receiver in the nation, and I think they're definitely going to like him this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So we have some NCAA basketball to talk about with you today. Seton Hall beat UConn 60-75, and this is a huge upset. UConn, obviously national champions last year. Seton Hall being Seton Hall. Yeah, that's fun.
That's how New Jersey schools roll, baby.
Exactly. And today was, as of recording, was FAU versus Arizona, and FAU upset Arizona 96-95 in 2 OT. I caught the end of this game when it went into overtime, crazy game. Check out highlights and stuff if you haven't already. But this FAU is a powerhouse now, and it's cool to see what they're doing. Real quick in the NBA, we unfortunately have an injury report. Wemby sprained his ankle in warmups after stepping on a ball and was ruled out for today's game and is unsure on status for games going forward. So this is definitely a huge hit to the San Antonio Spurs, who have already not had the season they've had. Vince, what do you think this means for Rookie of the Year if he's out for an extended period of time? But he should be back soon.
Listen,
But, yeah.
listen. Forget about Chet. Forget about Wemby for a second. Let's give Jaime West Jr. the Rookie of the Year right now. I just want to touch on that real quick. He's having such a good campaign. I can't wait to just see what he can do the rest of the season for this Miami Heat team. But look, I think this is going to be huge for Wemby, and I think that this injury is going to really determine his future, not just this season, but in future seasons to come. But I think he can definitely come back in the next month or so for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Moving on to the MLB. Unfortunately, it's happened. It's terrible. Yamamoto has signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers on a 12-year, $325 million contract. And the Dodgers have now spent $1 billion this offseason on two players.
That's listen.
Oh,
that's
MLB.
more than more than the Miami Marlins payroll.
This is I can't. This is
the great
terrible.
Story in baseball. This is
and they're still going to choke. To be clear, they're still not.
They're going to choke.
Yeah,
hey, I'm calling it right now. Fast forward to postseason this year. The Miami Marlins, the 80-win Miami Marlins in the postseason, we're beating the Dodgers, baby. We're beating them.
Right. By the way, do you guys have a GM yet, or is that still
Do you have salary cap is the question.
This is the Dodgers. I just want to talk about this real quick. This is terrible for the game. Like Yamamoto all set to come to New York, and I know the Yankees are a powerhouse too, but this is Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto are the top two pitchers on the Dodgers. This is the best player in baseball history, and a guy with the potential to be one of the best players in baseball history. This is not fair. Not fair. And you have Dodgers versus Angels at Dodger Stadium, end of June. Well, let's see how these teams are doing when we come around for that, because the Angels are about to be trashed this season.
Gotta feel for Trout.
I can't believe him. I just want
to. All right, we'll discuss that in another episode.
Yeah, but I just want to say this. Why did he sign that contract? Like, if he could go back and tell himself now not to sign that contract, I'm 100% sure he would, because I feel so bad for him. Anyway, another big free agent who we haven't talked about lately, Blake Snell, who is now the top arm in free agency. There's a lot of teams who missed out on Yamamoto that now need a starting pitcher. New York Yankees. The Mets need a pitcher. Phillies were looking at Yamamoto. Red Sox were looking at Yamamoto. Blake Snell, he's the next big guy. So you are probably going to see a lot of notifications this week from every sports news place imaginable about him having dinner with some owner or someone like that. So we'll see where Blake Snell lands, but I think that there's a good chance he goes to the Mets or a team like that. Clayton Kershaw is being eyed by the Rangers, and I just want to say I hope he leaves Los Angeles, because at least that would be one bad thing that would happen to the Dodgers this year. So, yeah. Quick segment on soccer. Suarez has officially joined Inter Miami, and he will now play alongside his former teammate Messi, and the MLS is something now. We'll see what happens with Inter Miami, because they better win the chip next year. Otherwise, it's gonna kind of be
they better win the Leagues Cup, and they better win the MLS championship.
Yeah, that would be a little bit awkward if that doesn't happen. So today in the Prem, Arsenal and Liverpool drew at Anfield after a tough-fought game. There's a header 4 minutes into the game, and Mo Salah had an absolute strike at around the 28th minute or something like that, and it stayed 1-1 ever since. So, they are going to stay at first and second in the Prem, respectively. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the Prem's season pans out. We have the Boxing Day matchups. As always, it's a huge day in the Premier League as you have straight soccer all day long. Starting off, you have Burnley versus Liverpool, Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth versus Fulham, Sheffield United versus Luton, and Man United versus Aston Villa to top it all off. That's a huge game. We'll see what happens there. Man U lost pretty badly this week, drew with Liverpool, which was pretty bad for us, and Aston Villa has been ridiculously good this year. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on there. But as always, we'll end it off with the fast fact. And speaking of the Mets earlier, the Mets were hit with a $100 million luxury tax payment after signing Scherzer. They had DeGrom for a second there, Verlander. All these guys, they are now paying off their debts, and $100 million. Not great for the Mets, Vince.
Well, I mean, if
Yeah.
this was the Dodgers, it's nothing for them.
Well,
it's nothing for the Dodgers.
Luxury tax is going to be a little bit different for the Dodgers since Shohei Ohtani is making $2 million a year.
Yeah, because he wants to go win a championship. Well,
$2 million a year.
Watch out for the Marlins. We're coming to the postseason, baby. Go Marlins, baby.
Of course. that'll be I have faith in the Marlins. They're gonna do something. Luis Arias,
Luis Arias, my goat.
He's gonna bat 400 this year. That's it. We're calling it, and
we're winning it. We're winning it for Jose Fernandez. He my goat.
Yep.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
And the Mets are still gonna be last in that division. So you're gonna beat someone. But
can we all agree on something that we hate the Braves?
Yeah, sure. That's a good way to end off this episode. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and about to be Happy New Year's. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the 20th episode of Sports Coverage Podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm alongside my co-host, Vince, and we will see you next week.